You live. You live. Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. This is Brother Noah. Coming back with another class. And today with the Junior Battle Axes.
Shalom.
All right, let's get this started. We're going to talk about today's class, talking about the wickedness of Halloween. Wickedness of Halloween. Since that time, that holiday is coming up soon, we wanted to go ahead and cut that down, right? Teach the people, especially the children, not to celebrate it. In fact, let's go to Jeremiah. For the first precept, let's go to Jeremiah 10 and 1. Okay. Oh, I'm forgetting something.
Yeah, I know what you're forgetting. I got it. Amos.
You ready? Yeah, you can start.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
So this is the words that the Lord speaking unto us, specifically the house of Israel, right? Go on.
Verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen.
Say that again?
Learn not the way of the heathen.
So learn not the way of the heathen. What are the ways of the heathen? Christianity, Buddhism, Muslim, and also these holidays: Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, which is what we're getting into, Easter, and so on and so forth. You got a precept?
Yeah.
Well, let's finish this first. Go on.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
All right, what's your precept?
Amos 5 and 21. Because this is an important precept to pull when you're going into holidays.
You didn't scare it because I was really looking for it as I was reading.
Gotta beat him to the punch.
Amos 5 and 21. The book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 21. I hate.
See, he hates. So he really doesn't like this. He hates. And for those Christians saying the Most High doesn't hate, he just said it point blank period right there. He hates.
I hate and despise your feast days.
He despised these feast days like Halloween, where we're going into today, Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, all of these holidays he hates. Keep reading.
And I will not smell in your solemn assemblies.
He won't even smell the solemn assembly. He hates these things, man. He hates these feast days that our people keep pushing, and that these Edomites keep pushing the agenda for our people to do these feast days, these wicked feast days like Halloween and Christmas and stuff. But yeah.
All right, that's a great precept. And let me add on to that. Let's go to Colossians 2 and 8. Colossians. Chapter 2 and verse 8.
Yeah, that was a reading.
Because Halloween is just another vain philosophy and vain deceit that the other nations are trying to push onto us, specifically America. Go on.
The book of Colossians, chapter 2, verse 8. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to spoil us with all these fake holidays, all these fake philosophies, and so on and so forth. Go on.
After the tradition of men.
So they're after the tradition of men, not after what Most High says, but whatever they feel like doing, whatever they want to do, right? Go on.
After the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ.
So we're after all this worldly stuff, but not after the laws, not after Christ, right? You got something to add on to that?
Yeah. Can I get Colossians? Just jump down verse 22.
Before you get 22, let's go to 18 first.
All right, that's good. Oh, that's a good one.
The book of Colossians, chapter 2, verse 18.
Want me to read it?
Yeah, you can read it.
The book of Colossians, chapter 2, and verse 18. Let no man beguile you, or your reward in a voluntary humility and worshiping of angels.
Read that first part over again. Sorry.
From the top. Let no man beguile you of your reward and a voluntary humility.
Yep. That word voluntary, it says, let no man trick you. Beguile is the word for trick. Let no man trick you out of your reward. And it's saying voluntary because you can do it to yourself by choosing to follow after that. So when you voluntarily go out and you serve these holidays and you do these things, you put your children in them, this is what you're doing. You're voluntarily giving your blessing away. You're getting beguiled or tricked. Keep reading out.
And worshiping of angels. Intruding into those things which he hath not seen.
Yep. This last part is very important to the point of this precept. Can you read that out?
vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind.
Fleshly mind, or going into a carnal state. You can't read this Bible, or you can't go out and look at the world in a carnal state. You will always go away from the Bible. But if you look at it with your spiritual eye, your third eye, you read the Bible how it's supposed to be read spiritually, you get this understanding. You get the understanding of how the Bible is supposed to be, not your own thoughts. Be good.
That's right. Can we jump down to verse 22?
Okay.
And that was a good precept to pull, because this one right here is going to tie into it.
The book of Colossians chapter 2 verse 22, which all are to perish with the using after the commandments and doctrines of men.
Read it from the top.
Verse 22,
Mm-hmm.
which all are to perish with the using after the commandments and doctrines of men.
Salaki.
You want to go up a little bit?
Yeah, no.
He wanted you to stop right there.
Oh, my bad. I'm slacking. My bad.
I got it. Book of Colossians chapter 2 verse 22, which all are to perish with the using.
This is what they're gonna die to. If they don't keep these commandments, this is how they get you. Keep reading.
After the commandments and doctrines of men.
Not of the Most High, but of men. Just like you said, you already beguiled because you already following men. You in the scripture says not to believe men. That's why we trust in the Most High. And the people that's celebrating Halloween, celebrating these other pagan holidays, those are the people that's gonna perish.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
All right. You got anything, Joshua? All right. Let's go to our next main precept, Proverbs. Did we finish?
I don't think you want.
We finished Jeremiah, right?
10 and 2. Do you want 3? Oh,
No,
you
no,
want
no.
3, yeah.
Proverbs 3 and 31. Let's go to Proverbs 3 and 31. Our next precept. Because all these vain philosophies and all these heathen ways are straying away from the laws and the word of God. Let's read a bit about that. Proverbs 3 and 31.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
Oh, I guess I'll go with this first. Envy thou not the oppressor. So we're not supposed to be wanting to do what the heathen do. We're not supposed to be wanting to have what the heathen have, right? We're not supposed to be seeing, just because we see them decorating or worshiping or celebrating these holidays, we're not supposed to be doing the same thing. But yet, our people do that. I guess you can call it peer pressure or whatever. Right. Go on.
Verse 32. For the froward is abomination.
Read the second part.
The second part? Oh,
yeah,
my bad. And choose none of his ways.
And choose none of his ways, which is, yes, self-explanatory. Let's go to... Oh, you had a precept?
No.
Okay. Let's go to Proverbs 21 and 16. Yeah. So we're not supposed to be wandering out of the ways of the Lord by following after these vain philosophies. All right, go on when you get there.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
So the man that wandereth away, the wandereth out of the way of understanding, which is the law, statutes, commandments, shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Now, what's that talking about exactly? Let's go to Baruch 4 and 1. Well, was that your precept?
No.
Well, let's go to Baruch 4 and 1. That's Revelations 11. Yeah, I read that before. Let's not.
Yeah, it sounds like it kind of, but not.
Yeah, that's for like, I guess people on there.
Baruch what?
Baruch 4 and 1.
My backpack, my pocket.
Ready?
Yep.
The book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is the book of the commandments of God.
So this is the book of commandments of God, his law, statutes, and commandments. Go on.
And the law that endured forever.
For what?
Forever.
So they're still going to be going on forever and ever. That doesn't mean they're not done away with. Go on.
All they that keep it shall come to life.
All they that keep it shall come to life. They shall have that everlasting life that the Lord promises us, and our spirit will come to life as well. Go on.
But such as leave it shall die.
Such as leave it shall what?
Shall die.
So that that can be physical, because the Most High can punish you for not following His law, statutes, commandments by killing you. But what we're talking about right now, we're talking about the spiritual death. How He will take away that Holy Spirit from you. He'll put you back into the world if you weren't already in it. If you wander out of the law, statutes, commandments. Let's go to. You have a precept? No. All right. Let's go to Exodus 23.
Exodus.
Because when we sell, well, we'll read it first.
You ready?
Yeah.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 3. Mm-hmm. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
So it's plain and simple. This is one of the top commandments. We shall have no other God besides the Most High. That means all these other gods of death, like in Aztec gods, stuff like that. Like how they celebrate they're celebrating Day of the Dead soon.
And this,
right?
And this some of the history we're gonna go into today.
Come on. Yeah, we're gonna get that soon. But let's get Exodus 34 and 14, because the Most High says this for a reason, not to have other gods before Him. What did I say? Oh, yeah.
Exodus 34 and 14.
Mm-hmm.
The book of Exodus, chapter 34, verse 14. Mm-hmm. For thou shalt worship no other God. For the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God.
Because he's a jealous God. So when He sees us, this is why we're in captivity right now. We went off to follow all these strange philosophies and vain deceits and all these other doctrines, and celebrate all these other wicked feast days that the heathen celebrated. That's why He put us into 7 major captivities and 14 captivities in total, right?
Keep reading, right?
I mean, nah.
You sure?
You want to do it?
Yeah.
All right. Verse 15. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land.
Come on, we are right now in our captivity here in America, so lest we make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land by, guess what, keeping their customs or following after what they do. Keep reading up.
And they go a-whoring after their gods.
They go a-whoring after their gods. That there is a possessive there, meaning, guess what, the other nations' gods. We go out and we follow their gods, and we do what their gods want us to do instead of doing what our God wants us to do. The verse before, it said He was jealous. So if we're going out and we're doing other things, we're breaking the commandments and we're not following Him. Keep reading up.
And do sacrifice unto their gods. And one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice.
And you sacrifice and you eat of their sacrifices. So guess what? That means you partake in Halloween and you partake in Christmas and all these different holidays and festivals that they have throughout the year. That means you subscribe to the things that they do in the world.
Eating all that candy.
The agenda that they push on you. This right here is making a covenant with the other nations.
You got precept?
Yeah, let me get Ephesians 11 and 5 and 11, Shalakia.
Ephesians 5 and 11?
Yeah, because this scripture right here, we should put it in the beginning of the class. But this goes very well to what we're talking about.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 11. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness.
Have no fellowship with these holidays, with this unfruitful stuff that the Most High tells us not to do, just like we were reading. Don't follow into these other gods that Esau is throwing at you. Don't follow into this God of Halloween, this God of Christmas, God of Thanksgiving. Don't follow into these traps. Keep reading.
And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them.
But help them. But like what we're doing right now, teach them, so they can have better understanding on it. That's all I got.
All right. All right. That's actually good. That's a very good precept. Let's go back to Exodus 34 and 16. Let's get 34 and 16 real quick, because that's going to tie into the next part of our class.
All right, let's go back. The book of Exodus chapter 34, verse 16. And thou take of their daughters and thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a whoring after their gods.
So this is their children or the nation of Israel going after. Actually, yeah, the children going after all the other gods because the nation's leading them towards that. Go on.
And make thy sons go a whoring after their gods.
They're cheap. They're pushing their children into the fire, making them go into all these other into these false doctrines. Salakia. Let's go to Leviticus 18:21. That goes into the next part. Talking about because we have to teach the children these to go against these things and what's actually right and what's good to the Most High. Whenever you get there, read that.
Leviticus 18:21. The book of Leviticus, chapter 18, verse 21. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech. And neither...
Salakia, read that top part again.
And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech.
To Molech. At this time, they're talking about another... Salakia. Another false doctrine. Go on.
Neither shalt thou profane the name of God. I am the Lord.
Khan. Let's go to Leviticus 20:2.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 2. Again.
He's saying again. Go on.
Thou shalt say to the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech.
So if you give any of your children or any of your seed unto the Molech and push these false idols and doctrines onto them, go on.
He shall surely be put to death.
He shall surely put what?
He shall surely be put to death.
Read.
The people of the land shall stone him with stones.
So that you'll be put to death for that, man. Right?
Fine.
Let's go to Deuteronomy 6 and 7. I believe this one is the main point of this part.
Samuel, you ready? The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 7. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children.
Wait, Salakia, read verse 6.
Verse 6. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart.
So these laws, these words that the Most High is commanding us to follow this day, he wants us to put it into our hearts. And what else? Read on.
And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children.
So also from our hearts, which means minds, and to our children. Go on.
And shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
So we're supposed to always be teaching our children the law, statutes, and commandments. That way they won't go doing what they're doing now, like celebrating Christmas or going out trick-or-treating at these random strangers' houses, right? Let's go to the next. In fact, let's talk about some of those familiar spirits. Let's go to Leviticus 20 and 6. I mean, did y'all have a precept?
You still use my phone?
Yes, I have a precept. If you don't mind. Yeah, I do.
Let's go get your precept real quick then.
Can I get Psalms 106 and 35? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, we just read this.
Psalms 106 and 35.
The book of Psalms, chapter 106 and verse 35. But we're mingled among the heathen.
We're mingled among, that means mixed. We're mixed in with the heathen. Keep reading out.
And learned their works.
We learned their works in this land. We followed after them. We're doing what they do.
And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them.
Like it said in Ephesians, in Ephesians 5, not Ephesians, Colossians 2 and 8. Guess what? It was beware lest any man spoil you. We can't be spoiled by these traps, these snares that get in our way. And guess this whole thing is a snare. They want you to go serve Halloween, because when you serve Halloween, the longer we stay in this captivity, the further we get from the kingdom. So it's all a snare, it's all a trap to get your mind confused. Jump down to verse 39.
Verse 39. Thus were they defiled with their own works.
Like it said, that one word we had, voluntarily. That one word in Colossians 2 and 8. Guess what? By our own works, we did this to ourselves. So we are the only reason why we're still here, because we're doing it to ourselves. Keep reading up.
And went a whoring.
My bad. And went a whoring, before you get this last went a whoring, not a physical whore, but a spiritual. We spiritually whore against the Most High God. We fornicate against him by, guess what? Not following his laws. Instead, we take his laws and we say, no, let's do what the other nations tell us to do, and we follow after what they want us to do. Get the last part?
And went a whoring with their own inventions.
That right there is, guess what? Precepts of men, tradition of men. These are things that we make up ourselves, our own inventions. Can I see? Do you mind if I get this real quick?
Yeah, here you go. I got something when you're done.
Do you mind? Can you read to commemorate from there?
All right.
What's the website name?
I don't know.
I think it's history.com.
Well, it's from history.com. To commemorate the event, Druids built huge sacred bonfires where the people gathered to burn crops and animals as sacrifices to the Celtic deities. Celtic deities. I thought it was Celtic.
It depends, but that's Celtic. So guess what? This is going into what they did. This is going to the early origins of Halloween and how they celebrated. Mm-hmm. Continue.
During the celebration, the Celts wore costumes, typically consisting of animal heads. And
repeat that. Sorry, they wear costumes. What?
Typically consisting of animal heads and skins, and attempted to tell each other's fortunes. When the celebration was over, they relit their hearth fires, which they had extinguished earlier that evening, from the sacred bonfire to help protect them during the coming winter.
So this right here was a tradition for them. It was a sacrifice unto their gods. But now that has turned into what we see today. What we still have the costume wearing, and guess what? They still sacrifice unto their gods. So anybody going out and serving Halloween is doing the exact opposite of what God wants you to do.
I just want to say one thing. And like people today, they just wearing it like willfully now. Like you go outside on like Halloween and you see people dress up with with little demon horns and stuff, thinking that's funny.
Yep. Like you said, they wear it willfully. Verse 39 says, guess what? Thus they were defiled with their own works. It was their own works that defiled them. It was their own doing. It's our own doing right now that's defiling us. We're the ones that are just putting the snare out for ourselves.
And then you pull that one.
Hey, just one more thing on that, like on the training up a child, like they took this off now, but like on YouTube when you type in like baby videos, like they main agenda is like to push the children. They trying to put it on the children to make us do sin, to keep us in sin. Like when you type in baby video, you see this little Nas video pop up with 3 men naked. So they really trying to push the agenda on the children to keep them in sin. No, because older people, they can't get them like that. So they trying to push it on the children with like TV shows, like gay TV shows, trying to teach them like men with men is right when that's wrong. Because you can go back to
go ahead. All right. You got a precept?
Yeah, so we gonna break down this familiar spirit thing. So we gonna start at Isaiah 8 and 19.
Okay.
And then it's going to tie into what Brother Cameron's finna go into. We're going to start at verse 19, Shalakia.
Okay, what?
8 and 19.
Isaiah 8 and 19? Speak up.
Yes.
I didn't hear it, my bad.
Talking pretty loud.
Okay.
All right, go on.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 8, verse 19. And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits.
And when these people try to beguile you and talk to you and try to trick you and say, we want familiar spirits, look into some familiar spirits. Keep reading.
And unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek their God for the living? Oh my bad.
Should we not try to go and do their doctrine? Should we not try to raise people from the dead like Brother Saul did? Raise Samuel from the dead using a wizard or a witch or whatever. Keep reading.
For the living to the dead.
Keep read
verse 20?
Yeah.
Verse 20. To the law and to the testimony. If thy speak not according to this word.
And look, this but he finna pull the law. He finna pull brother Noah finna pull the law. No, brother Noah's finna pull the law, and it's gonna tell us that we shouldn't do this. It's basically a precept. Keep reading.
It is because there is no light in them.
It's because there is no light in them. If they getting beat out by these things that these people are, that men is saying, it's no light in them from the beginning. That's all I had.
Come on, let's go to Leviticus 20 and 6. This does go right into it. So if y'all can put Leviticus 20 and 6 by Isaiah 8 and 19. I'm gonna do that.
26.
Yeah, Leviticus 20 and 6.
Leviticus 20 and something.
It's not that bad.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 6. And the soul that turneth after such as have a familiar spirits and after wizards.
So the soul, the person that goes after these familiar spirits, after these wicked spirits, go on.
To go a whoring after them, I will even set my face against that soul.
So the Lord will set his face against you, right? What else? Go on.
And will cut him off from among his people.
That they can either kill you or he can kill you spiritually, right? Which we don't want either of those. Let's go to Leviticus 19 and 31. Yeah, that's the one I want, I think.
Leviticus 19:31.
Yeah, right behind.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits.
So don't chase after them. Don't listen to those familiar spirits. Go on.
Neither seek after wizards.
Or wizards. Go on.
To be defiled by them.
To be defiled by them, which is to be going a whoring or fornicating spiritually with those wicked acts. Go on.
I am the Lord your God.
This is the Lord telling us this. We can't go around if the Lord's telling us this, us this specifically. Let's go to. Oh, y'all got precept?
Are you gonna get the Samuel? Or
Oh yeah, let's get the one.
Somebody saw, right? Are you
Yeah.
going to the story?
You already have it.
I don't know exactly. I know it's in 28.
That's good.
We don't have to go there if y'all don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would be a good breakdown.
All right.
It's 28 and Shalakia, bear with us real fast.
Okay. I'm gonna read 28 and 2. We're gonna read down. We're gonna jump down to 7.
You break me down?
I'm just the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 28, verse 2. And David said to Achish.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Yeah, I guess so.
You wanna?
I can read it.
You can read verse 3. Good. Read verse 3.
Book of 1 Samuel, chapter 28, and verse 3. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him.
Lamented is going to guess what? Mourn him.
And buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land.
So we just read what a familiar spirit and guess what wizards are. Those are people who try to turn you from the law to do witchcraft, pretty much.
So these things were back then, just so you know, and they're still around now. Go on. I gotta read it.
Jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7. Then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit.
So guess what? We just read over here in what? Leviticus 19 and 31 says, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards. So guess what? We see here Saul is asking for a woman with a familiar spirit. He's literally asking for a wizard right now. Go ahead, jump back and read that.
Actually, we should probably read verse 4 to 7.
You want to read
a bit of context?
I think it's up to you. I'll read it if you want me to.
All right, go ahead.
We're going to jump back up to verse 4, 28 and 4. The book of 1 Samuel chapter 28, verse 4. And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa.
So they were going to war with the Philistines. Go on.
And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid.
So Saul saw the army of the Philistines, and he was afraid of them because of their numbers. And
Verse 1.
Verse 1? Oh, well, verse 1. Oh,
5.
Verse 5. Go on.
And his heart greatly trembled.
So he was afraid of the Philistines when he was to have his trust in the Lord. And what did that lead him to do? Read verse 6.
And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets.
Because he was already doing wickedness to begin with. Go on.
Verse 7. Then Saul said unto his servants, seek me a woman that hath the familiar spirit, that I might go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath the familiar spirit at Endor.
So Saul decided to go after these familiar spirits. He wanted to use, I guess you could say, a witch, right?
Con.
Let's go to real quick. Let's go to Sirach chapter 2, and verse. I think I want 2. Yeah. No. Sirach 2 and 3. Yeah, that's what I want. No, 2 and 2, Sirach 2 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just okay. I want verse 14 as well. 2 and 2. The book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 2. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble.
So when you read that first part again, Salaki.
Set thy heart aright and constantly endure.
So we're supposed to set our heart aright, or set our mind aright, constantly endure, constantly staying close to these law, statutes, commandments. Go on.
And make not haste in time of trouble.
And make not haste in time of trouble. What is that going into? That goes into trying to hurry up and do things your way, because Most High isn't working on your time, he's working on his time. But instead you want to put things in your own hands, which is what Saul was doing. He was afraid of the Philistines' host, their army. He tried to seek help from God, but God wasn't answering him at the time. So he decided to go off and look for a witch to help bring back Samuel, so he can get advice from him, which we'll get here in a second. You wanted something else?
And I do. But before I get that, hold that precept in Sirach 2. But before I want to get that, let's jump back up, because the precept, it says this for a reason. And let's jump back up in 1 Samuel 28. Let's go back up to 5.
Book of 1 Samuel chapter 28 and verse 5. And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid.
What law did Saul just break here?
He feared men.
He is fearing men. He is not fearing the Most High God. Like he's not being a God-fearing man of the Most High like he's supposed to be. This is a sin he's committing. He's fearing these other. That's why ultimately when it came down, David was the one who had to defeat Goliath, because Saul was too afraid. Can you read, Knock?
Salakia. He was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled.
Guess what? It was on his mind heavy. Like he was scared. So guess what? This is a law Saul is breaking here, and this is why the Most High God handled the situation the way he did. Let's jump back over to Ecclesiastes. Sirach 2 and 14.
The book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 14. Woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you?
He lost patience. He gave up in the Most High God. So instead of trusting in the Most High God and being patient about it, he went and he had to go find a wizard or a woman with a familiar spirit, a wicked spirit, and he went and tried to console in her instead of the Most High God. We can jump back to it now.
All right. I guess I'll read.
Samuel.
Oh, okay.
Verse 8.
Actually, let's jump down to.
I think we need 8.
We do?
Yeah. 8 and 9 at least. The book of 1 Samuel chapter 28 verse 8. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment. And he went, and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night.
So he tried to sneak. He tried to sneak and do this.
Yeah.
He tried to sneak. Not only did he do this wickedness, he tried to sneak and do it too.
Go on.
And he said, I pray thee. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by thy familiar spirit, and bring him up, whom I shall name unto thee.
No. You're saying that right. Bring me him up.
Yeah, bring me him, Shalaki. And bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee.
So, Brother Benaniyah was right. He was telling us he was trying to sneakily go to this lady with this familiar spirit to try to bring back Judge Samuel to get some advice from him, which we're gonna get into. read verse
I got
11.
9.
What was it? 11? Oh no, Salaki, go on.
And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die?
So the woman, she was aware that Saul cut off all these witches and wizards with familiar spirits. So she's skeptical. She thinks that this may be a trap to get her to get killed. Go on.
And guess what? This is how you know Saul's disguise was working to her, because she didn't even know she was talking to Saul here. She was like, I can't do this because this is against the law. She's standing up. Let's read verse 10 though. Verse 10. And Saul swore to her by the Lord, saying, As the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing.
He said, I swear to God. He said, I swear to God. And you ain't gonna get hurt.
You ain't supposed to swear with the Lord's name, especially not for a wicked act like this. But go on.
He's causing this woman to sin. Verse 11. Then said the woman, Whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, Bring me up Samuel.
So he's saying, yeah, it's self-explanatory. He's asking for her. Saul's asking for her to bring up Samuel. Let's read on.
Verse 12. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul.
So she found out that he was Saul and that she was tricked. Go on.
Verse 13. And the king said unto her, Be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel.
So she was describing Samuel. She was able to bring back Samuel in his spirit, right? Yeah. Go on.
And he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself.
And if you read on down, this Samuel talks to Saul about his punishment for doing this act and what his fate will be. But we're not gonna get that right now. Let's go back.
Just let you know that it was wizards and familiar spirits and witches in the world at this time. And they're still on earth at this time.
And there's other stories too, like Moses and Aaron, how they brought the staff to the Pharaoh and his magicians, and they all dropped their staffs, and each staff became a snake, but Moses was stronger and ate all of them. Let's go to did we already do Leviticus 26?
I believe so.
Let's go to Leviticus 19 and 31.
We got that.
Oh, well, Leviticus 17 and 10. Salakia.
The book.
Just a little bit of laws against certain things that would portray towards Halloween.
17, 10, you ready?
17 and 10, yeah, go ahead.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 17, verse 10. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of strangers that sojourn among you.
So this for all people that are in the house of Israel, go on.
That eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood.
So that's saying, the Lord's saying you're not supposed to eat blood. Who eats blood? Vampires and or zombies, right? And some Edomites like to eat their food with just raw, extra rare.
So if you realize what this brother is doing right now, guess what? These are popular things that people like to dress up as at Halloween. They like to be wizards, they like to be zombies, they like to be vampires. These are all things that the Most High God sees as abominable. So why would you go out and try to portray yourself as something that the Most High God sees as wickedness? That right there, the holiday itself is wickedness, but why would you go and do that? It's wickedness all around.
Because these costumes and all these monsters you're dressing up as are also idols that you're trying to worship too. Especially on that day.
Let me read the last part. And will cut him off from among his people.
Just like the previous verses that talked about being cut off from the people. He can cut you off spiritually and or physically by killing you. Let's read verse 11 too.
Verse 11. For the life of flesh is in blood.
The life of flesh is in the blood, which is why we use it to offerings on altars. Well,
Yeah.
actually, you can read on down when it says that. Read on down.
And I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul.
So it's not for us to drink or eat or all that satanic stuff, right? You got a precept. Anything?
I got some.
All right.
Let me get never mind. I'll wait till you go through this.
All right, let's go to Exodus.
Can we get 1 Corinthians 15:23?
We're gonna get that later. Let's
Okay,
go to
go
Exodus
ahead.
22 and 18.
Exodus 22.
Wait a minute. Is that what I want? Oh, I'm in Leviticus. Salaki. Yeah, Exodus 22 and 18.
Oh, okay. So then, can we get okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
The book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
Read that again.
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
Point blank period. Like that, like the story we just read. Saul was cutting off all the wizards and the familiar spirits and the witches. So that's why that woman was so terrified. She knew that it was wrong. She knew that if she was seen do this, she would get killed for it. Because the law says, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live."
And that right there is another what we saying? Wizards, witches, vampires, zombies. These are all wicked things, and people dress up as these things on Halloween. You want 1 Corinthians 15:23 now?
No. Let's go to Did I already get Leviticus 20 and 27? I did. No, I didn't. Let's go to Leviticus 20 and 27. No.
Leviticus
20 and 30?
20.
Yeah, 20 and 27.
Yeah, you get this.
Yeah, we gotta get that.
I think we got this. I don't know.
We haven't
the
got
book
it
of
already.
Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 27. A man also or a woman that hath a familiar spirit,
So a man or a woman that has a familiar spirit or a wicked spirit, go on.
or that is a wizard,
Or that is a wizard, or it can be a witch, go on.
shall surely be put to death.
Shall surely be put to what?
Death.
So like it said in Salakia. So like it said in Exodus, it's the same thing. It's just reinstating itself. Go on.
Thou shalt stone them with stones, and their blood shall be upon them.
This is the wickedness that the people are doing in Halloween, or some people like witches in real life, wizards in real life. All these people that actually live off of doing this. Let's go to, or voodoo, perhaps you can say that too. A lot of our Levites nowadays are doing voodoo. Let's go to First Samuel 15:23.
Now you're gonna get that.
Because we're doing all this because the nation of Israel in total is being rebellious to the Most High God. And what is the sin of rebellion? Let's go get that.
The book of Hebrews.
First Samuel.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
Rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and we know the penalty for a witch is death. Go on.
And stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being a king.
Because we rejected the word of the Lord, we didn't want to hear what he had to say. We didn't want to do his laws, statutes, and commandments. He rejected us from being king. He brought us down to a lower estate. He put us into captivity because we kept breaking the laws, statutes, and commandments. And he destroyed us for lack of knowledge, which is Hosea 4 and 6. Let's go. You got a precept?
I got one.
Oh, I do have a wait. You go.
What you got?
Huh?
What you have?
I have Isaiah 57 and 5.
You got it.
Yeah. Give me Isaiah 57 and 4.
So Isaiah 57 and
4. Isaiah 56.
57 and 4? Isaiah 57 and 4?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, are you sure?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff right in my mind.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 57 and verse 4. Against whom do ye sport yourselves? Against whom make ye a wide mouth, and draw out the tongue? Are ye not children of transgression, a seed of falsehood?
This is going into us, guess what? Opening a wide mouth or eating all the doctrines of the world and partaking in them. And it says, are ye not the children of transgression? So it lets you know, guess what? Our fathers were doing this sin, and it trickles down and it's continuing. Guess what? Generation of vipers. Keep reading up.
And Salaki,
Inflaming.
my place.
5.
Verse 5. Inflaming yourselves with idols under every green tree.
It says, guess what? Green trees are everywhere. So guess what? We're doing this all around the world. We're inflaming ourselves and lighting ourselves with these idols and idolatries that are not of our customs, aka Halloween. Keep reading. Keep reading.
Slaying the children in the valleys under the cliffs of the rock.
Guess what? How do you slay your children? You go out and you say, hey, put this costume on. Go to door and trick or treat. That right there is a custom of that is not of our custom. Keep reading, not.
Verse 6.
Actually, jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7. Upon a lofty and high mountain hast thou set thy bed. Even thither wentest thou up to offer sacrifice.
Verse 8 is going to explain this. Keep reading.
Behind the doors also and the posts hast thou set up thy remembrance. For thou hast discovered thyself to another than me.
Guess what? God said he was jealous. So guess what? We went out and we discovered ourselves to another that was not Christ. Keep reading.
And art gone up. Thou hast enlarged thy bed.
We have taken our bed where this is only our bed and we've enlarged it. So guess what? When you enlarge a bed, you make it to include everything. You include all these other doctrines and wickedness like Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism. These are all different things we enlarged our bed to include. Keep reading.
Thyself to other than me, and art gone up. Thou hast enlarged thy bed, and made thee a covenant with them.
We made a covenant with them. That them is going to the other nations, the other people who have other customs. Keep reading.
Thou lovest thou their bed where thou sawest it.
And we love that bed. We continue to lay in that bed. We continue to roll in that bed and love that bed.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Isaiah 30 and 9. Isaiah 30 and 9. Let's go. Yeah. Isaiah 30 and 9. Read that when you get that.
Okay.
Just a little bit more about rebellion.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 9. That this is a rebellious people.
Our people are rebellious people. We're a stiff-necked people, like it says in Acts 7 and 51. Go on.
Lying children. Children that will not hear the law of the Lord.
Because every time the Most High the Most High, he'll put us in captivity, and then we want him to save us. So he does. He sends like a remnant, or he leaves a remnant. That way we can be saved again. Just for us to go back and do all the wickedness that we did before. Just to go into another captivity and another, right?
You want that precept on that?
I have precept.
Okay, go ahead, get it.
Yeah.
Jump to verse 30.
Okay.
Verse 1. Shalakia. 30 and 1. That's what I mean.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children,
to the rebellious children. Can you read?
Saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me.
You take counsel, but it's not of the Most High. It's wicked counsel. And these people that do this are adding sin into sin into sin. It's going to say it in the scripture. Keep reading.
And that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit.
But not of your spirit. They do any and everything but keep God's laws and statutes. Keep reading.
They add sin to sin.
They add sin to sin to sin. That's all these people do. That when they fall off the wagon, they keep going and going and going until they find themselves deeper and deeper into a hole.
Do you mind, bro?
You got another one?
Yeah. You gonna get this? Galatians. It's just going to.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go to, let me get this real quick. Let's go to Sirach 7 and 8.
Okay.
I guess you could say this could be a precept for Isaiah 30 and 1 about adding sin upon sin.
Sirach what? 7?
7 and 8.
The book of Sirach, chapter 7, verse 8. Oh, 7 and 8. The book of Sirach, chapter 7, verse 8. Bind not one sin upon another.
So he's saying, don't bind one sin upon another. So when you sin, don't go off and do it again. Go on.
For in one thou shalt not be unpunished.
Because in just your one sin, you're not going to be unpunished. There's going to be a judgment onto you. So why would you want to just go sin upon sin upon sin upon sin? That's just going to be judgment upon judgment upon judgment, right? That's all I want. Did you have a piece up?
Yeah. Can I get Isaiah 1 and 4?
All right.
That's good.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and verse 4. Ah, sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity.
Guess what? That word laden means, guess what? We're filled through and through with iniquity. Keep reading.
A seed of evildoers.
A seed of evildoers. Okay, keep reading.
Children that are corrupters.
Mm-hmm.
They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward.
Instead of making progress as a nation, we continue to decrease and decrease and decrease. And we at a point where we need a savior. We need someone to come help us, because we keep, like I said, we keep adding sin upon sin and sin upon sin, and it keeps getting deeper and deeper.
Is that what you got?
Yeah.
Let's go to, did we already get Isaiah 39 to 10?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Proverbs 1 and 10. I'm going the wrong way. Proverbs 1 and 10. Because this is going, we're gonna start going into family members or friends or other people that try to entice you to do these other sins or celebrate these holidays, right? Go on.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 10. My son, if sinners entice thee.
So if sinners try to entice you or tempt you into doing whatever they're doing, go on.
Consent thou not.
Consent thou not. Don't do it. Don't listen to them no matter what.
Ephesians 5 and 11. The scripture we pulled early. It goes perfect to that.
Con. Let's go to Deuteronomy 13 and 6. Wait. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead. Deuteronomy 13 and 6 to 8.
13 and 6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13, verse 6.
Because this is going to go into more detailed version of that of Proverbs 1 and 10. So y'all can write that down by there. Go on.
If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend.
So if all these people and more, go on.
Which is as thine own soul, entice thee secretly.
If they all entice thee secretly, go on.
Saying, let us go and serve other gods, which thou have not known, thou nor thy fathers.
Or, come on, don't you want to go trick-or-treating for a bit? Or just let's drive the kids around a bit to a couple houses. Or, come on, let's just spend some time together on Thanksgiving. You don't have to eat. Go on.
Namely of the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee, or far off from thee. From one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth.
So they're trying to celebrate or worship all these gods from all over except for their own.
See, and this right here is a cut to people who say the people who try to get you to celebrate these customs of, guess what? People who live over there in Asia, like Hinduism and Buddhism, they far off. These are other gods that's far off from us, but you have people of our own try to get you to go serve those people, or cosmetology. These are all customs that they try to get you to serve that's far off from us. But you read verse 8. No, I was asking. My bad.
Oh, my bad.
Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thine eye pity him.
Slack it. So you're not supposed to listen to them, like it said in Proverbs 1 and 10. Don't consent. Don't do it. Don't hearken into their lies. Go on.
Neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him.
Don't spare, conceal them, which go into, like, you can rebuke them at the gate. Tell them, hey, you're doing wrong by doing this, or hey, I don't do this. And if they ask why, you give them scripture why.
Hear the precept?
Yeah.
Give me Matthew 10 and 36, because this goes very handedly with what he's saying. right here, and this is from Christ himself. Look, Matthew 10:36.
I can read it.
Mm-hmm.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10, and verse 36. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household.
Jump to verse 35.
Verse 35. For I am come to set a man at variance.
Guess what? Christ comes to set a man at variance. He comes to put a man. He comes to put a man in a place where he has to make a decision, where there's a difference. Keep reading.
To set a man at variance to
Dang,
I lost. Oh, here it is. Set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
Jump up to verse 37.
Verse 37. You don't want 36?
We just read that.
Oh yeah, verse 37. Salakia. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me.
Those family members that come up to you secretly and they try to get you to serve other gods. Guess what? This is saying. Guess what? If you love them or you love what they're saying more than me, keep reading.
He that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me.
That person is not worthy of me. They're not worthy to get me. Keep reading.
And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me.
So guess what? The scriptures say what they say.
Let's go back to Deuteronomy 13 and 6. Deuteronomy 13 and 8.
13 and 8. Okay. You want 8 again?
Yeah.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13, verse 8. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thine eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him.
Don't do any of these things, for even if they're your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, anything, because that will show that you love them more than you do the Most High God. Read on.
Verse 9. But thou shalt surely kill him.
Wait. Say that again?
But thou shalt surely kill him.
But that's my mama, though.
But thou shalt surely kill him.
Thou shalt surely kill him. This is a punishment worthy of death. Go on.
Thine hand shall be put upon him to put him to death.
Wait, read that again, Salakia.
Thine hand shall be first upon him to put him to death. And afterwards the hand of all the people.
Now this doesn't have to talk about literal, but it would back then. But now this can talk about you should be the first to tell him, hey, you're doing wrong, or hey, you shouldn't be doing this, or hey, read this. This is in the Bible that you shouldn't be celebrating this. You should be the first one to tell them. You know, like I said earlier. Let me see. Oh, thou shalt not spare him. Neither shalt thou spare him. Make sure you rebuke them. Tell them you're doing wrong, like a true friend would, right? Let's go to our last precept.
Before you say that, I just want to say one thing. And they try to make you seem so wrong that you don't want to celebrate what they doing. For example, for birthdays, it's not on topic, but for birthdays too, they be like, hey, come out with your family, come celebrate. And you tell them no, and you give out scriptures why you don't want to celebrate with them and why you don't celebrate birthdays, Christmas, and all these holidays. And they say, man, you don't want to spend time with your family. See, they use smooth words to entice you, to snare you into that trap. See, the Most High gonna put you on a test to see what you gonna do at that moment. See if you gonna fall into that wickedness, into that trap, or you gonna do the right thing and stay diligent and keep these commandments. And if you really like that, you ain't gonna go in that trap.
Let's go to 1 Corinthians 10 and 20.
New wine. New wine at Old Cup.
Yeah.
I was gonna pour that earlier.
Okay.
Now this will be our last precept.
For tonight.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 20. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils.
So the Gentiles of the other nations sacrifice unto devils. Go on.
Ooh, I lost my footing. Where am I at?
Verse 20.
Okay. And not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. So
we shouldn't have fellowship with those devils or those familiar spirits or those wicked spirits or those false idolatries. Go on.
You cannot drink the cup of the Lord.
So you can't You can't follow the Lord and what?
And the cup of the devils.
You can't follow the Lord and cup of devils. You can't be trying to keep the commandments while trying to sin on the side, or try to hide that secret sin. Go on.
Straddling the fence.
Yeah, go on.
Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the devils.
It's saying the same thing. Go on.
Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than he?
We can't provoke the Lord to jealousy. I know, because we're not. Are we stronger than thee? Because he's the Almighty. He's the Omega. He's the Alpha. So we can't. So putting him to jealousy, making him mad, will be the last thing we want, right?
Con.
And with that,
You say what you got to say.
I just want to say one more thing. It's not a precept. You can go after me, but like
last time I didn't post.
for Israelites saying like, oh, I'm gonna go to their house and I ain't gonna celebrate Thanksgiving. I'm gonna just be there with them. So if the Most High come back right now, what would you think he would do to you? He gonna kill you, man.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. Rat-a-tat-tat.
I'm just gonna read it out. The book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 14. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. Like it said, everybody has a decision. Everybody has a choice. And like the priest has said, you can voluntarily take away your kingdom. You can voluntarily take the kingdom from yourself. It's all up to what you choose and what you choose to do. Revelation 3:15, guess what? I read thou not be lukewarm. I want you to choose a side, hot or cold. He hopes you choose the laws, but if you don't, you just don't.
Because you can't be worrying about other people. You need to worry about yourself and you. What you want to get in the kingdom, so you got to make sure that you get there, right? But with that, anything else?
The law?
Yeah, we're going to get the law.
Okay.
With that, we say shalom. But we like to get a law at the end of every class. So let's go to Deuteronomy 6 and 7. The one that we already went over in the class.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 7. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children.
We shall teach the laws diligently unto our children. Go on.
And shall talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up.
So we're supposed to continually be pushing these laws into our children. That way, we know not to celebrate these holidays, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, and so on and so forth, because our parents and our people taught us better. We know the truth. We read. We know not to celebrate those wicked holidays. And with that, we say shalom.
Shalom.